don't know if we want to be serious about this, but all right. So, I did not think I was going to do a reaction to this, but this is not actually reaction to anything in particular in terms of. I'm not reacting to a video content. I'm not reacting to I don't know, a TikTok or a short or a podcast or anything like that. What I'm reacting to right now is literally to the statistics, the stats the results that I received from from reviewing my first, most recent, just yesterday's upload onto TikTok. And my God, I'm so angry at this too because like part of this is I got back right just like 15 minutes ago. Uh, I only got the spontaneous idea to record this now because I was reacting. I was so surprised. I was just shocked, right? I was flabbergasted, and I had a total meltdown. It's too bad I can't capture it organically right now, but I was like cackling like a stupid fucking moron because I took a look at this really poorly edited TikTok that I released. Like this video, it's right here. It's on the left hand side. It's being recorded right now. It's the only one I put up. It was just an experiment. I remembered, oh yeah, TikTok. It's very easy for these things to kind of blow up because they are short. They cater to the instant gratification, and it's mindful of people's time, right? Short attention span, yeah, sure, that's painted as a negative thing, which it kind of is. But at the same time, it's also there's a notion of making sure that you're mindful that people just don't have a lot of time to spend on anything. I recognize that maybe the audience for TikTok is probably a little bit more onto the youth side, so maybe they do have a lot of time on their hands. But typically adults don't have a lot of time to spend on watching like videos and crap like that. So if something shows up for like 15 seconds, that's just kind of general. In general, it's a good idea to make content that's like short, bite-sized snippet things. And so I was like, I saw the YouTube Shorts the other day. I was like, oh, these things like are really taking off, especially for some of the creators on YouTube. I was like, um, it's clear that they're gaining like 2 or 3 times as much, like let's say 100,000 views as opposed to their 30 views in their videos. And so the primary source of their viewership comes from YouTube Shorts. It's like, okay, let's take advantage of TikTok then. But first, let's try to upload something on YouTube Shorts. And I said, it's probably not as great of an algorithm, and not just the platform itself. It's not as specialized for short form content in the way that TikTok is. And so I decided to release it both. I made this really crappy edit, this really shitty edit of Stephen He, and I actually like Stephen He. I like his comedy because I'm kind of old school. Back in the day, I remember when I was just in like elementary school. Sorry, I was knocked out. Knocked the ring light. I was in elementary school, and I was like grade 5, grade 4, grade 3, down in downtown, the city that I live at, which I'm not going to disclose. And so this is like late 90s, early 2000, and we're just like, oh, dry. It's like we were just being dumb kids, right? But people were like, just like banter, right? Banter, throwing insults, who could make the best yo mama jokes, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of it was like also mimicking and pursue and mimicking and copying accents of different cultures. And of course, back then, I recognize now people are like kind of like super sensitive to like racial stuff, right? But before we would like, make all sorts of accents, like this is an Indian accent, or this is like a Hong Kong Chinese accent, right? And then Orange Prank Calls did something like that back in the day, right? This is like 2008, 2007, something like that. Orange Prank Calls totally went in on the whole Vietnamese, the buck now somebody kind of accent right there. And then there was another one, I think African Rebel did the whole Nigerian accent. We kill the people on the streets and so on and so forth. I can't do the accent, I'm sorry. So, and they were just basically professionalizing something that, or well, I don't know if it's professional, but Orange Prank Calls and African Rebel were just basically making something great out of and going somewhere, like garnering an audience, building like some marketable side business gig kind of thing from what was originally probably just a bunch of little kids in the playground during recess in the 90s making mockery, cracking jokes, making fun of each other, who saying who could make the best insult, who could make the best fake accent of someone who's Chinese, Indian, Russian, whatever, what have you, like, American Colorado accent, whatever. So that's where it came from, right? I mean, I think that's where, I don't know. And I I recognize that that's kind of old school humor. I've been told from someone really close to me that that's old, and like I don't. You're not wrong. It is pretty old, but that's what Stephen he does, right? He's got that. My point is he does that kind of stuff. He's a whole emotional damage kind of thing, and he does a really great accent, and he speaks in very like perfect British accent as well too. So I always find it funny because I obviously don't have a British English accent, even though I speak English, and so there's like this British, and then there's that traditional like Mandarin Chinese, and apparently he can only speak like Cantonese, I believe. He can also do that too. So it is a very kind of like somewhat old school humor that he's playing into, but nevertheless, I do like his stuff. And it's not like I watch it all the time. In fact, I watch it very sparingly. But whenever it does pop up, the rare occasions that pops on the feed and the rare occasions that I do click, I find myself usually enjoying it. So I basically went ahead and tried to make this little snippet here, which is, let's click on it. Go ahead.
To the back.
You did not take a grenade to the back.
On the way to donate to charity.
Damn it, fine.
And this was not, by the way, just to be clear, this was not something that I actually found funny. I did not find this clip funny. This from Stephen He was not funny to me. I'm saying that a third time because I want to emphasize I thought this was a shitty clip. It says, okay, so I captioned, when movie villains, in caps, have best alibis. I did not think it was a funny video at all, to be honest. I'm sorry, Steven. That was not... I'm pretty sure a lot of people did find it was. I just saw it. I decided to pick something that had a lot of views. And this had a lot of views. Had like, I think 3.3 million. And I guess people found it funny. I didn't really... It didn't catch on to me, right? It didn't click immediately. And even when it did sort of understand, I was like, oh, right, he's playing into the whole trope of how the villain always has to have this moral underpinning for why he's doing awful things. So, oh, my son's being bullied. My village was burnt down, the whole... guns music. The whole... If, the child who isn't nurtured by the village will burn the town down to feel its wrath or whatever, to feel its warmth. That whole cliche kind of thing. So there's a moral underpinning, some moral justification, and we're made to feel sorry and sad for the villains. I think that's not a new trope. That's a pretty old thing. That happens all the time. In fact, one of the major, one of the types of villains that really make for a good villain, when done right and executed in the proper fashion, is a villain that has a good, complex, gray zone. They're a complex character because they have actually a very understandable and relatable tragic history that leads them, or a very understandable and yet not justifiable. So you can understand it but not justify their cause and their motive, right? So their good villains are created in this trope. Of course, there are also other great villains where they are just downright evil, batshit crazy, just like the Joker from The Dark Knight, which I love that villain very much as well too. So they don't all need to have good motives, but he's just playing into this trope, and I did not find it funny. I didn't find it really that funny. I didn't get into the humor, but it's like a 45-second long TikTok they released, and I only laughed at, I think, the baby kangaroos part or something like that. And I was like, oh, why am I laughing at this? Even I was like, why am I laughing at this? It's not really that funny. But I'm not gonna judge people for laughing at what they laugh at. I'm not gonna judge myself for laughing at it too. It's like, if it's funny, it's funny. You have a good time, right? So long story short, I said, all right, okay, let's. That was actually part of a large reaction video I made out of many YouTube shorts, and this particular one short from this one creator, again, there were other shorts, I think Taylor Dance, who does that crazy, wicked, smooth, robotic movement kind of. She's great with the slides, so is Jackson. So there's like multiple creators there, and I was reacting to Stephen He's, and I found that his was not actually that funny, but it was funny. It was something that I had reacted to, so I might as well include it. And then I figured, let's pick a random clip while I was editing the video to turn into a short or a TikTok short video and then upload it. And I've never done that before, right? I knew I had watched so many of these like marketing videos in the past like couple years about how TikTok will help you blow up, TikTok will do this, YouTube Shorts is the next thing, and so on and so forth. And I knew that is true because like obviously who wouldn't watch a 15-second video over a 15-minute video, right? Who has the time to sit down and watch 15 minutes? You always debate, is it worthwhile? And then you end up leaving 90 seconds in if you find that the video is not engaging enough, or you don't see the value in it by the 90-second mark or sooner or later. But for like a short 10-second video, it's like the time cost is so low. So it's just common sense, right? And I created the video and I pushed out there, and I wasn't expecting very much. I said, they might perform a little better, but I didn't, I was doing like fingers crossed kind of thing. I was like, no expectations. I was like, because most of my content is pretty shit. I'm just being honest, right? Because I'm not a great reactor. I have been most of my life I'm much like a stick in the sand. Right, I mentioned this in my first couple reaction videos that I sort of had to be like the parent of the household in a very symbolic and twisted, distorted kind of way. Anyways, I don't get into that. The point is, I'm a very boring person. I'm just a boring fucking ass person, and my reactions and I have only very recently have I started to really get in tune with expressing emotion and using it as well to leveraging it, right, in terms of being more of a person, being more of a complete individual, and then using that also as a part of projects like these, where we can actually just have fun and then see if we can create something, an audience, a following out of it, and then take it somewhere, right? Who knows? This could be like a side venture, a side gig into the future, right? That's part of the reason why we're doing this as well. Maybe it'll be a financially sustainable gig. And a lot of people have done that, right? So I was thinking, let's finally make use of the emotional expression that we have a better grasp of, we have a better handle of. But usually, even now, I have to say I'm not that great at managing my emotions from a brand marketing standpoint. Sometimes I'm too negative. Sometimes I ramble, like what I'm doing in this video, right? And I don't generally think that my content is like good content. Even the direction right now that I'm heading right now, as I'm talking about my doubts, right? A good video doesn't talk about your doubts. It just talks about the stuff that you have to say. So we're just use that segue right now, since I'm conscious and aware of that right now. The point is, I don't think that my videos usually have a lot to offer, to be honest, to be fair. And so I'm surprised to say that this really shitty edit video, right? And I thought, oh, well, no expectations going in. I just toss it onto TikTok, toss it onto YouTube Shorts. Most of my videos have like no views. And to be fair, most of my previous videos on my channel weren't meant to have views. So if I'm being totally fair, most of my content was not made for the public to view. It was made for self-development purposes, self-improvement, recovery, therapy. And then only in the past couple of weeks have I pivoted after recovering and healing myself to a reasonable standpoint, not just through this channel. A lot of due credit goes to other people in, other organizations, right? Psychotherapists, to social health workers, to, just, support groups and whatever, to friends, to churches, believe it or not. So, that's a totally different segue, but the point is I decided to pivot the content and move it towards something that was a little bit more entertainment focused. And knowing that I don't really have the chops to be entertaining, right? I'm pivoting towards entertainment, even though I know I don't really have the chops to be entertaining. And so I created it with zero expectations. And then I noticed, of course, as usual, as expected, right? Well, to a reasonable degree, there was actually some success on the YouTube videos. I guess you could say this is like this video itself, this reaction / review / commentary / monologue, whatever this is, this particular first video we're making right now, is very much of part of it was a reaction. It was meant to be a reaction to the fact that that this TikTok video did better than I thought it would by a mile. And then I ended up going to this segue here because it is relevant. It's a relevant tangent. The point is, I really didn't expect myself to actually get anywhere when it comes to entertaining content because I'm not a very entertaining individual usually. And so when I popped into this and put this online, I was really expecting like 5 views, maybe less or nothing.